Once you've navigated to Classroom Screen, you can have a look at the Try for Free button at the top here or here. This is classroomscreen.com. You can find the web address up here, or just Google search Classroom Screen and it will take you to this website. Click Try for Free. It'll open up a new window with a random background. The first thing that you'll notice is a bunch of widgets at the bottom here and a full screen option. Click on the background widget and it will give you a bunch of pre-selected backgrounds by Classroom Screen. They are separated into autumn, best of nature, landmarks, calm and neutral, etc., etc. You can also upload your own background by dragging your files into here or clicking on upload your files. Let's select a background. I like this one. Here we go. Now we have a background selected. The poll function offers you three different types of polls: multiple choice smileys or true or false. Let's choose a multiple choice poll. And the pre-generated question, your question, is what do you think of today's lesson? That's a good question. I don't need to change it. I will say it's great. It's okay. It's bad. I was snoring. Okay, so now you can see these options appear here. If you want to delete an option, you can click the red trash icon here. And if you made a mistake, you can always add it back. You can also have poll settings such as closing the voting, which you'll see everything's locked. That's the lock icon. You can do it from here or from here. You can also hide the results here at this little icon of the eye or over here in the settings. And why this is handy is because if you are using one PC or a Raspberry Pi and you have this projecting onto a wall, then each student is going to have to come up individually to the same PC to vote. And if we don't hide it, then we can see that student X said B, and immediately the whole class can see which one they picked as well. So it might be good to hide it, let everyone do their voting. Notice the number here. Let everybody do their voting, and then reveal at the end what the options were. Okay, the information can be shared via a bar, via a pie chart, or via a donut. Donuts are great. The other thing that is very important to do is to pick the color theme. So you might notice that this does not match with the background. You might want to make it more transparent, maybe black so you can read it better. Or you might want to make it darker with different colors so it fits in better, and resize it. You can always resize every one of these little things using the white circles here. You can close the settings at any time. And because you're not logged in, you won't have remote voting enabled, so don't worry about that for now. But yeah, it's a great tool to use. You can put up any polls you want, and you'll have to create a new poll if you want to have a second poll. So they're one at a time, unfortunately, not multiple at once. Now that I'm finished with that, I'm going to remove it by pressing delete or by clicking this trash icon here. The randomizer is an option that allows you to add a bunch of names, your class list, to it by putting a name per line. So what I would suggest is typing this out in Word first and then just pasting it in, because remember, you're not logged in. It's not going to save the settings the next time you come. So you can just quickly copy, paste it in here. So let's say Kyle M, Brian T, Devin J, and Theben G, and Vasilis V. Okay, so we've got a bunch of student names now. We click OK. It takes us to the settings. We can disable the sounds that play when we hit the randomize button. We can disable the animation that happens when it's looping between the names or rolling through the names. We can also switch off that it remembers which student was chosen for the randomized assignment. So for example, you don't want the same student to be selected for everything, so it will record their name here and then they will not be chosen again, which can be handy. So we can choose a background that matches. Let's go with this. I like the darker ones because they're easier to see, but you can choose whatever you'd like. And then when we close that and click this, if we have no volunteers, we let the system volunteer someone for us. And there you go. We have Devin now, but he won't come again because he's on the list here now. If we want Devin to come up again, we can remove him individually and hit it, and maybe we'll be lucky. Nope, not this time. Or we can clear the list. So once we have all of them, Devin has to be the one. There we go, clear the list and start over. So we can click that, so you don't have to have the settings open at all times. And that's the randomizer. Let's delete it and move on. The QR code allows you to paste any QR code that you would like in here. So you can paste a link to any Ed puzzle or anything you can imagine, put it in there, generate a QR code, and when your students scan it, they'll be directed to that website or that activity or whatever you decide to link your QR code to. I'm not going to do it now. Actually, let's do it. Let's do www.youtube.com and generate the QR. Okay, so there is a QR. If you scan it, it will take you to youtube.com. You can scan this with your phones. Your students can scan this, and if you have it up on the board, you can just leave it in the corner. It might be for an activity that you've set up that you want them to have a look at later. That is the QR code scanner. The sound level option allows us to monitor sound levels using your microphone. So you might notice here that as I'm speaking, it's recording the sound level, and I've set the max noise to quite high because I'm speaking quite close to the mic. Your students won't be. So you can also switch off the sound as it goes over. So you'll notice that it rang once. If we lower the sound, it won't ring this time because I've switched that off. And the other option is I can mute or turn off the microphone so that this is not a, it's switched off. And then if I want to switch it back on, easily done. I can also go into the settings, change the sound to something else, play the sound if I want to hear it first. Okay. I like that. That's a nice sound. And then I can reset the counter if I want to. There you go. The counter's reset. I can change the microphone sensitivity so that it may be, if it's hitting too many times, like mine will be, I could always just lower this to 75%. And then it's harder for me to hit that mark, as you can see. All right. If you find that your microphone's not picking up what the class is doing or saying, you can increase the sensitivity beyond 100 as well. Let's remove it and go on to the next one. Images allow you to upload images just like the background pictures. Works the exact same way. You can drop and drag. Must be 25 megabytes or under. And you can upload from your computer as well, and we'll open up an Explorer tab where you can select the pictures from your computer just like you would for the background. You can also have multiple images if you want to put up class photos or something else, maybe whose birthday it is or something. The text option allows you to enter text. Let's say you want to put homework assignments. Let's put homework assignment. You can create this with a numbered list. So math exercise 2, page 22. Lots of 2s. Here you can also put in a link. Watch video. And you can select this text and click on the link icon. And then you can put in a link to whatever you would like. So a YouTube video, you can just copy the YouTube video's address and paste it in here. And when you click save, then it will be up here. However, if it's not interactive with your students, it's not necessary to do, because it's probably easier to do it as a QR code, because your students won't have access to this board live unless you have a premium account and you're logged in. You can also select things that are very important and highlight them. So I want to select this and I want to highlight it in yellow. Very, very important, this one. That's another option that you can do. You can superscript or subscript, which is handy if you want to put up equations. And you could do ax squared plus bx plus c. And that would have the equation right in front of you. So if you're a math teacher, this could be quite helpful, or a physics teacher, this could be a very helpful tool. So you could say, remember ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so that's a little look at the text widget. You can also bold things, underline them, and you can strike through if you want to. When complete, you can drag it around, leave it wherever you want. Let's remove it. The draw option gives you a paintbrush to start with, so you can paint something. Hello. And that's with the mouse, so that's quite nice. You can also remove it with an eraser. And you also have a normal pen option, which is much harder. Much harder. Okay, you get the idea. You can also use this to draw things pretty quickly. I noticed that it's quite easy to draw something like if I hold down, if I drag out the circle, it's not round, but if I hold down shift, it'll make it perfectly round. So I could draw a unit circle pretty quickly. I could literally just put this here, drag this down. You could use a tablet to make this a lot easier to draw or write. And then you can actually change the height of the entire image so that you only keep what you need. You don't have to have all this white empty space around it. And this allows you to draw on the fly whenever you need it, something that your students need to see. You can then change the background, make it really easy to see, or something like this, and then click outside of the image and just drag it wherever you need it as a reminder. So it has some very cool applications that you can work with. The work symbols give students an idea of how you would like them to proceed with their work: in silence, whispering only, asking their neighbor, or working together. When you click away, these icons will disappear. So that saves some space. It's quite nice. You can put it up there. And there's a nice sound, so every time you change it, they can hear, provided you've connected a speaker. You can also change the look and feel of it. So whatever matches your background, you can go ahead and do that. There's a traffic light that you can use, which the only thing I could think to do with it is to say pens down, 10 minutes to go, and start. But there could be other things that you could do with it as well, and it's up to your creativity at this point. Quite a handy tool. Also a sound that plays when you are changing it, which is really handy. A timer tool can be used for focused work. Let's say 10 minutes of focused work starting now. And your students can have a look at it and see it up on the board. You can color it however you'd like. And this kind of ties into a clock as well. That could be something that you could use next to it. The clock can also have a 24-hour time. If you don't like the AM PM system, you can make it 15:31 quite easily by selecting that. And you can add alarms. So let's make one at 15. Where is it? 15:32. Let's make it 33. And there you are. We hear the alarm. You can change the alarm sound to whatever you'd like. There's a small widgets button over here that you might be wondering what it does. If you click on it, it will give you a whole bunch of other widgets, like a timetable. These timetables are pretty handy. You could say I want to add some activities. Let's say I want to say this is going to be the math test. This is going to be a physics test. And this is going to be a geography test. You can add some breaks in between. And this allows us to see where we are in the day. That's quite nice. You can add a video straight from YouTube. You can add a stopwatch. You can embed things from other sites. There's a dice in case you need it. So you can roll the dice. And a couple other options that you can try. A webcam that you can put on yourself or on the class or on something else, so they can watch it live. And a visual timer. So you could say 10 minutes starting now and it ticks down. So that could be helpful as well. And that concludes our tutorial on Classroomscreen. I want you guys to try it out yourselves and build your own screens. I'll put together mine for a few minutes.